Welcome, everybody, to the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. As always, the Grueling Truth is powered by Betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding the online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Make sure you check them out at Betting.net. I am your host for the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I'd like to welcome in my co-host. First up, Mr. Bengal Nation, Ty Robbins. How you doing, Ty?
What's up, Bengal Nation?
I'm sorry. I just stole some of your thunder. I'm sorry.
I know you did. That's my go-to. But I'm excited. I'm headed to Kansas City this weekend, so I know a lot of fans are going to be there, and we're going to bring down Arrowhead. I'm just like, I can feel it. It's going to be loud. You're going to hear a lot of hoo days. It's going to be cold, and you better dress warm unless you're Joe Kelly.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, Joe Kelly's got the better seats, like I'm sure he'll be warm somewhere.
On the field, it's going to be just as cold as it is up behind the sun where you sit.
Yeah, that's where they start, and then they'll probably be in a box somewhere. But I'll be in the 300 section. Come wave to
me. Ty, I'm not a box guy, Ty.
Oh, you're not? No? Okay.
Just because nobody gave you one yet. I'd be a box guy in 20 degrees. All right. My other co-host, 1988 AFC champion. That would have been the second time the Bengals won it. Bengals were 3-0 in AFC Championship games, partly because of this man, number 58, Joe Kelly. How you doing, Joe?
Oh man, it's a great day to be a Bengal and part of Bengal Nation, Bengal fans. It's exciting time, man. It's we're back at it. And I love our swag. I love our confidence. I think, this year, as opposed to last year, we're actually going into this game with the feeling that we can beat these guys. I think, last year, at this time in the playoffs, we were hoping that everything could go right. Now with the hobbled Patrick Mahomes, I think with our offense executing the way they're executing, and our defense playing lights out, this is for us. I love the machismo about here, not worrying about, hey, we got to go to Kansas City, we got to play in Arrowhead. That's saying they got to play us. And I think, with that confidence and with that swag, they're going into this game. And if we don't have to play a perfect game, but we're going into this game, knowing that we're capable of beating these guys.
All right, we got some comments here. We've got Mr. Andy Steve, who says "Who Day." We got Countryman from Jamaica from I Am Sure Sports, who predicts a 49ers Chiefs Super Bowl. Countryman, you're on the wrong show, but he likes the Chiefs. And this is the thing, though. Last year, I was on Countryman's show in Jamaica, and I made the claim at the start of the playoffs that the Bengals would go to the Super Bowl and that Joe Burrow was the best quarterback in the NFL. And I'm pretty sure, Countryman, y'all mocked me. And then the Bengals ended up in the Super Bowl, and here we are again. We got Joseph Michael, who says, "Who Day, Joe and Ty." He spelled Ty wrong, of course, because he went to Three Rivers School District. He says, "You guys are great." Then he says, "Number one to Mike." All right. Hey, Joe, kiss my ass, Joe. All right, so let's look back. I expected the Bengals to beat the Bills. I didn't expect it to be that easy, Joe.
Yeah, I going into this game, and I think with due to the NFL, they sold 50,000 tickets to Atlanta. So you just think about that, and you think about the psyche of, man, 50,000 tickets, man. They're counting us out even before this thing started. So I think with that, but even more so, I think it was a situation where here we had the attitude of, let's finish. We weren't allowed to finish that Monday night, due to the unfortunate situation with DeMar. But that night, man, we were on fire. Scored right away. We were on our way to score again. And even everybody, there's no prognosticators that were going to pick us. The only one of the only guys that picked us to win was Boomer. So I think we went in there with an attitude. We got after them. Man, those reserved offensive linemen, Oh man, they dominated. We had a dominating running attack. And our defense was playing lights out. We had a couple lapses, and good thing that Josh wasn't on his game completely. He missed a couple balls that could have kept him in the game. But I still think, despite that, there was no way our guys were going to lose. I didn't think we were going to beat them by that much. But I figured that we would score around 27, 30 points, and I didn't think that they could score that many against our defense.
All right, Mr. Andy Steve says we gave Buffalo the AFC North treatment, punch them in the mouth, didn't run over them. They had no response. Josh Allen is as soft as he is inaccurate.
No, I don't go with that.
This is the thing. I don't think Josh Allen is soft. I think he's coaching.
Absolutely
I think the
not.
coaching, Joe. I think the coaching staff's soft though. I mean, how can you continue to play soft cover 2 against a team that's gouging you in the run game? And you play soft cover 2 against quarterbacks that you think are going to get impatient and make a mistake by throwing the ball deep when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And it's proven that doesn't work against Joe Burrow anymore.
Yeah. And it's a Leslie Frazier, bend but don't break type defense, trying to keep everything in front of you, and hoping and expecting their D-line would be able to put the kind of pressure. Their D-line would be able to stuff some of those running lanes up, but that wasn't the case. We had a great game plan, for those guys, and Leslie Frazier, unfortunately, fortunate for us, unfortunate for them, that he didn't adjust to some of the things that we were doing. And that resulted in us being able to move the ball on a consistent basis almost every single drive. So when you look at that, we had those guys on their heels, and now when we got them on their heels, we could do anything. We were running hitches. They had Jamar Chase, that second touchdown when we had the fake hitch and the tight end goes out, and a wheel route.
Hayden Hurst, that was a great play.
That was a great call. But you can tell that our coaches did their homework. And you can, here, I don't, Josh Allen is still one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
And he's tough as hell.
Yeah, we were just better. It's that simple, But you have to understand here, if our defense doesn't make the play against Baltimore, we don't even know if we get to Buffalo. And that was a lot. Baltimore has a lot better defense, obviously, but we got to this level against Buffalo, and at the end of the day, we were just a better team. We had a better day than them. I think we're just more overall talented than them. And then based on when their safeties, both of their safeties got hurt on the same play, and then without a Von Miller. Without a Von Miller, without your 2 starting safeties, without DeMar Hamlin as well out, it would have been a tough task for them to be able to stop a potent offense like we have.
Well, the Bengals are missing a starting corner, 3 starting linemen. As it's the NFL, people are going to be missing right now. You just have to be able to deal with it.
Yeah.
And when I watched the game, the thing that struck me was this. I mean, my main issue with Zach Taylor is I don't think he runs the ball enough. They ran the ball enough here. Joe Mixon ran the ball. I mean, he was a stud in that game. Samaje Perine, when he was in the game, ran the ball hard. I mean, this, to me, when you looked at the Bills and the Bengals, the Bengals just looked like the physically much bigger team.
Yeah, they manhandled that line, and that was the big question going into this. Like, how are these 3 new starters going to how are they going to play, right? And Carmen Jackson went back to his original, what he played in college, left tackle. Adeniji went over to right, so they're no longer playing guards. And Sharping went to the guard, and they were blowing these guys off the line. Mixon got 105 yards, and you knew it's going to be a long day for them when he starts breaking off 5, 6, 7, 8-yard runs, and they couldn't stop him. And so that really opens it up. And on top of that, Burrow's on top of his game. He went 9 for 9 and with 2 touchdowns. So they got the ball. So, and he hit all receivers. So who are you going to focus in on, right? And I think this is what this is going to be the challenge for the Chiefs. He just doesn't zoom in on Kelsey, right? He hits all of his receivers. And he keeps them moving. He keeps his chains moving. He was on his game. So it was impressive to see this line move. Now, Chiefs, it's a whole nother ball game, and Chris Jones is you're going to have to stop him. You're going to have to stop him. Last time they played, Kappa did a great job, containing him, probably the best of what anybody did all year. But you don't have Kappa as of yet. So that's going to
Yeah, but the great thing about Chris Jones is this. He is basically an interior defensive lineman that is just a pass rusher. So you can run the ball on him. And we saw before the last game, Shamaji P. Ryan went for over 100 yards against him. So I think this is the same kind of game plan, hopefully, where you're just going to run the ball down their throats. Now, real quick, before we transition and look at the Chiefs game a little bit more, I do want to bring up one thing that I think is entirely disrespectful. And that is when you look at the NFL honors and they talk about the assistant coach of the year and you talk about the coach of the year. I'm not even going to say I think Zach Taylor should be there because, you had 4 or 5 guys that turned around horrible situations. But what I am going to say is this. Zach Taylor should be there if Sean McDermott's going to be there. Sean McDermott was supposed to win the Super Bowl this year. He didn't do as good as he did last year, but now he's one of the 5 finalists for Coach of the Year. And you've got Lou Anarumo, who I don't know why people aren't interviewing him to be a head coach, because what he has done defensively, the Bengals haven't seen a defensive coordinator near this since Dick LeBeau, Joe.
Yeah, you look at especially when you get to offseason accolades and seasonal accolades. The Bengal organization historically is not that. That's why you look at it. There's only one person in the Hall of Fame. You look at Ken Riley, Willie Anderson, Isaac Curtis, number of guys that should be in the Hall of Fame. And that goes the same with the coaching. That goes the same with the Pro Bowls. But you look at that here, because everybody, like you said, everybody did predict Buffalo to be Super Bowl champs. They when they lost that, as soon as they lost that game to Kansas City, they were everybody, every prognosticator, every expert said Buffalo was going to win hands down. And every last one of them said that, majority of them said that we weren't even going to make the playoffs. So when you look at that, when you look at the way we started, you look at a offensive line not being able to work in training camp, you having a quarterback that had surgery and in training camp as well, getting off to a slow start, but then we went on a run. So when you look at that here, you at the end of the day, you deserve and you should be in the talkings and the rankings of that. Lou should definitely be a coach. You see these guys. Frank Reich, he just got hired with Carolina Panthers head coach. I
didn't even see that. Frank Reich got another job after he sucked in Indianapolis for like
Carolina
5
Panthers.
years.
Yeah, so you look at that, and you know what I mean, and that allow them to keep throwing gasoline on the fire, man. And get us pissed off, and let us go and take this team all the way to the Super Bowl, and this time get that first victory for the Cincinnati Bengals organization.
Yeah, because going into the Bengals-Chiefs game, I was kind of worried because yesterday morning we were the favorite. We were the only ones talking, but then Willie Gay straightened that out for us today by saying that the Bengals offense had nothing, which would really tell you. This is the thing. I looked at Willie Gay's stats for the last game. He was in on 39 snaps, had zeros on everything. So that'll tell you Willie Gay knows about nothing, because that's usually what he gives when he plays. But when I look at this team, this is a team, the Bengals can run on this team. They can throw on this team. The question's Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. You've still got weapons there. I think when you look at it offensively, I think the Bengals are better. I think defensively the Bengals are better, because I think defensive line, they're a lot deeper. They don't have a Logan Wilson. I think their corners are comparable to Cincinnati's. I think they might be a little bit better, but I think the Bengals safeties are much better than theirs. And I think the Bengals are better coached. Because Andy Reid's been to 15 championship games and made it to 2 Super Bowls out of it. Yeah. And his clock management is questionable a lot of times. Yeah. And Steve Spagnuolo, I don't think, is a great coordinator. This is a game to me, Joe, that if the Bengals lose it, it's because the Bengals will give it away. The Bengals have to turn the ball over and play like crap to lose to the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think with it's going to come down to the mobility of Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes can, we can put pressure on him, and the guy can make some incredible throws. They're going to be well coached. They're going to be prepared. They're going to have a good game plan for us. They're going to see what worked against us. They're going to see things that they need to do defensively. So they're going to come in ready. But at the end of the day, I think we're going to come in ready. We've seen what was successful with them defensively. We see and we know what we need to do offensively. So now it's going to be, it's going to come down to, our players being able to execute the game plan, their players being able to execute the game plan. But when you look at it, now I think, and this has been a long time coming. I think here, because we're talking about the AFC Championship. We're not talking about a mid-season game. We're talking about the AFC Championship. Next game is the Super Bowl. And we can go in this game and say, 22, our 22, your 22, we are better. It's that simple. We're better. 22, you look at their 11, look on offense, they're 11 on defense, and you compare them to ours, we're better. Can they beat us? Absolutely. This is the fourth straight AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
So they're this is nothing new. Here. So I think last year we got that. Okay, here. This is what it feels like. To be there. Now we know what it feels like to win. So here we know that feeling, and that feeling. Oh man, that feeling doesn't ever die. It's about us going out there and executing. Like you said, we can run the ball on them, we can pass the ball on them. We just can't allow them to make big defensive plays defensively. A sack and a fumble, pick six or anything like that. And I think if we can stay within what we're doing, we don't have to play the greatest game, that they played, all year. If they can match close to what they did last week, we're going to kick their ass. It's that simple.
Yeah, my worry is Pacheco, because the one thing I do worry about, especially with Mahomes being hurt, the formation that they really hurt Jacksonville with, even though they don't run it a lot, I could see them running a lot against us, is where they go to trips bunch. Like they'll go trips bunch to the left, just outside of the tight end. They'll put the running back on the same side. You'll have a wide receiver at the bottom. And what they'll do basically is, if you match those three guys with three guys, they're going to throw the screen to the inside receiver coming around. If you match them with four, they run with Pacheco. Mm-hmm. And if you keep your middle linebacker in the middle of the field, which every team they've played, I've seen from watching the old 22 has done this year, they're going to gouge you running the ball. Mm-hmm. So I think that the Bengals will be prepared for that. But still, this is a team to me that I think the Bengals are great stopping the run between the tackles. Where I worry about is when the ball's running off tackle or a little wider, kind of the way Baltimore runs the ball against us. Mm-hmm. I think Pacheco is dangerous there, Ty.
Yeah, I have to agree. They don't run as much up the middle. So, and if they get out to the outside, we really have to dip that right then, right? We got to stop that, because they're going to get breaks off chunks of yards like the Ravens did. They're going to run to the outside, so we're going to have to really stop that. But a lot of that's going to come down to putting pressure too on Mahomes and seeing where he, what he's able to actually do. When you talk about stopping.
Yeah, but Ty, real quick, the reason that formation scares me is you can't blitz it. I mean, you can if you blitz it to the side where you think they're going to run. It's useless to blitz to the side they're going to pass. And if you blitz and miss on the other side, you're screwed. So that is why that position worries me, because when you line up like that, how are you going to defend it? And then the other thing is, if you've got Hubbard or Hendrickson on the edge, that's going to be an issue because they're pass rushers. I think it may be something where we see what the Bengals did with Cam Sample against the Ravens, where you put Cam Sample on the short side of the field that only has the one wide receiver to try to be able to stand that end up. So Logan Wilson, Jermaine Pratt, Akeem Gaither, Davis can float to the ball to create numbers on that play. Because if you got somebody that's just a pass rusher and he's, running his circle, running his edge there, that could really kill us. I mean, that's what worries me.
Yeah, but then again, you got Lou. And Lou Anarumo is going to make those adjustments. He's not afraid to pull players out and put other guys in, depending on what the situation is. And I think that's a big deal. Like he'll put Cam in, or he'll put Joseph Osai out. Those guys that can get out, run down runners. And so I like that he's going to make those adjustments. So if they do, break off a chunk here or there, that he'll make the adjustments and fix that problem, especially in the second half of most of the games. They've made big adjustments.
Yeah, and I think the key here, Joe, is on first down, make it 2nd and 7 or more. Because if you let them get to 2nd and 3 or 4, then they can pick you apart with the motions, the screens, and all the other stuff.
Yeah. And first downs are going to be crucial. First downs and third downs are going to be crucial for us, keeping that thing second and long. And that's the second and 7, some 7 to 10, keeping it like that. At the end of the day, this is what it is. We've played. This is the fourth. This is our fourth meeting in 2 years. They know what we're going to do. We know what they're going to do. Their bread and butter is their bread and butter. That's a formation. That's their bread and butter. So we know that. Here over the years, playing 11 years and kind of seeing things. I remember playing against the Pittsburgh Steelers and Tunch-Ilkin. I can look at Tunch-Ilkin and I would tell Crumry, Scow, Leon White exactly where they're going based on Tunch, and they never changed. They're never changed. And I'm calling the play out. I'm calling Bubby Bristol's plays out. And they're still running the same thing. So they're going to run, they're going to line and see where they can gash us. And if it's working, that's what they're going to do. You see how they kept coming back, going back to Kelsey against Jacksonville. Kelsey is standing there inside, pretending like he's blocking. Boom. He had 10 catches at half. That's so easy to defense, but they never defensed it. They kept, and they kept going back to it because they kept working. So here, when they line up in there, we have to not overcompensate when they go those 3 right outs. And you're going to have the backside. You're going to have that backside defensive end play solid, keep contained. Because that play is coming back to you. If they're running, the play is coming back to you. Do not allow the offensive tackle to try to give you a cutoff block and make you try to come down. And all he's doing is trying to, make you read that inside block and then slug you over. And now Pacheco is coming right off that tackle's butt, and that's potentially a long run. Pacheco's a 4-3 guy. So if he gets out in the open, it's going to be tough. But I think here we know what they're going to do. We know their alignments. Of course, they're going to work on a play. They've looked at what Baltimore did and how Baltimore was successful, stopping us 6 or 7 drives in a row. They're looking at what worked against us defensively. But they can do that. We know what they're going to line up and do. They're not going to be able to install a whole new game plan.
They don't have the Ravens defensive players.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
All right, real quick. Find the best place to bet for you. Betting.net offers expert and user reviews for every online sportsbook casino in your state. Check them out at betting.net. All right, we had a comment here. I was going to pull up. Carl Whalen. Carl says they wouldn't see us using a 2-headed monster running game of Perrine and Mixon. I see Zach pulling a sneaky run game on them. I would like to see what would happen with both those guys back there, Joe. But I think that our running game is more dangerous with everything spread out, if you know what I mean. Because I don't think, even though our offensive line played good against Buffalo, Buffalo's defensive line is not that good. No, I mean, Rousseau's decent, Oliver's decent, but that's about it. I think that if you bring in 2 running backs into the backfield, that's going to allow them to drop another guy or 2 into the box. Yeah, and it takes kind of that fear away from the ball being thrown quick on you. And I think it also would allow them to maybe play a little man press and bring their safeties over the top, if you know what I mean, with the extra guy in the box.
Yeah. And when you're doing that, it's, we know what our bread and butter is. Could they use both of those guys? Absolutely. Will they? If there's not a high
Joe,
chance.
I like to see it where he just puts them both out into a pass pattern on each side.
And well, you can do that, but then, now you're taking away from your trio and you're taking away from Hurst when you do that. So here, you think about our trio, you think about Hurst and what Hurst has been able to do.
Yeah, but is Hurst going to be able to play? Because he didn't practice today and now he's on the injured list with his calf.
I We'll have to see. But like you said, we have to. We're going to be able to compensate. For that. But it's going to be. We're a team that's tough to defend. So I don't think here. When you're thinking about using two backs, yes, if we had Lyle Collins and we had our starting five and how great those guys were playing up until Collins got hurt, this would be a game that here we probably can play smash mouth. But I think we have to keep it open, continue to do what works for us, and not make big mistakes, not make turnovers. Defense is going to have to play solid against those guys and not allow big chunks.
All right. So when we look at this game, Ty, who do you like? Don't be a homer, Ty.
I like the Bengals, man. They're going to have to. It's good. They've played these guys 3 times, and 3 times it's been close. It's not going to be a blowout like up in Buffalo, so it's going to be close. But turnovers are going to matter, and how Burrow's playing, right? They're going to have to stop Chris Jones. And when I looked at his stats, Chris Jones is great in the season. In postseason, he hasn't been as good. So hopefully that trend continues, and they can.
I worry more about Frank Clark and the rookie Karlaftis because our tackles are still an issue. I mean, I'm not one person that sees one game that's good and can ignore the other things I've seen.
Yeah.
So I'll wait and see. But I mean, come on, anything's better than Jonah Williams.
Right. Well, Frank Clark's played actually better than Jones in the postseason.
That's why I was worried about him, Ty.
Yeah. So, but I think the game wrecker is Chris Jones, so you've got to stop him. And I think that Burrow, he just gets the ball off so quick, and his receivers, they've been playing now together, and they're used to these postseason games. He's 5-1, so they're going to get the ball out quick. I think it's going to take pressure off the linemen, and they're going to have this game plan, and especially if they get a running game going, they're going to be.
I think to win the game, they have to get the running game going. Oh, yeah. And I think if you look at the second half of the game against Kansas City last year, the biggest difference in that game was they started to run the ball.
Started to run the ball, yeah, absolutely, and turnovers. Turnovers were big for us last year.
And the other thing, Joe, high ankle sprain, even if he looks good to go right now, the first time he gets hit, somebody lands on that ankle, he might be done.
So, I don't think anybody's going to purposely go, try and go low on him. But at the end of the day, we're going to win defensively. I'm saying if I'm Lou, let's go after him. I think Jacksonville made a huge mistake by allowing him to sit back there, and they continue the 3-man rush, 4-man rush. And at the same time, Kansas City was blitzing the hell out of Jacksonville. So I think we have to make him run. He's not going to want to run. I had a high ankle sprain, in college, and I had one in the NFL, and it was a 6-week injury, and it was 6-week injury because I continued to play. And the only way I was able to play effectively on Sunday was to get a shot, in my ankle. But even then, you are still, the way you're running, the way you're cutting, trying to plant hard. And you look at his escapability, that goes down 2 or 3 steps.
And doesn't this change the way you're going to attack him? Because if you are going to attack him now, you want to attack him up the middle to make him go outside. Yeah. Where before you wanted to keep him in the pocket and spy him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ty.
I think the other game changer, too, who's really come on is Mike Hilton, right? Because when he was in Pittsburgh, they blitzed him all the time. And when he first got here, they really didn't do that. In the last couple games, man, he's been on fire. He's fearless. He's going to go after it. And if he gets a shot, he's going to take it on Mahomes. Yeah. He wants this bad. He's on the sideline. When the offense is out there, he's hyping people up. He's going to be up for this game. Yeah. Anarumo's going to blitz him a couple times, and it's going to put pressure on and maybe even cause a interception.
Yeah, I think right now Hilton, when you're talking slot corner. I think he's playing just as well or better than any slot corner in football. And that's what we're doing with him, and he's great at disguising, the blitz. You'll see a lot of times you think he's coming, he's not. You pull up out of there, playing that inside receiver, playing his play against the run has been excellent, superior at times. So when you have a slot corner making those type of plays, here you can gamble a little more. You can pull off one of those defensive end and spy, on those guys. So that way, or have the one of the linebackers spy against Kelsey. So we've been mixing it up really, really good on defense. We're going to have to continue, coming from all sides. And Patrick Mahomes, he can get flustered as well. We got to him a couple of times last year, but his I think it's going to be his inability to be as mobile as he can. They say, oh, he practiced Wednesday. I don't care. You got a high ankle sprain, and that higher ankle sprain is still and something else. So we have to go at him, and it's gonna if we don't, if we sit down and we play cautious, if we play not to make a mistake, we play not to lose, we could lose. It's that simple. We have to go in and with guns blazing, and take this and continue. The mentality of they got to play us. We're not worried about what they're going to do. They got to play us. Let's play our game, and if we play our game on all three phases, because special teams gonna play a huge factor too, especially if it's cold. Field position is gonna play a huge factor. So I'm looking forward to it, but I think this team is ready.
All right, Alex Kappa today did not practice. Ted Karras had a full practice the last 2 days. Hayden Hurst didn't practice yesterday. It was limited today. Sam Hubbard was full today. Here's one that's interesting to me, Joe, is Trey Flowers practiced fully. He was full participant in practice today. He's the guy they put on Kelsey last year, if I remember right. Yeah,
absolutely. And he's a guy that can run with Kelsey. Kelsey can run. Kelsey's physical. Kelsey's going to catch the ball. Now having Trey back, there's things that we can do, and we can put Trey on him, and Trey can run with him. Kelsey still, Kelsey's one of the greatest.
You just got to make sure you tackle his ass when he catches the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Trey's he's matched up with him well. And I think, he, him being healthy, 100%, that just gives us an additional weapon that we have. And, we can't let Kelsey have a 10+ catch game, because if we do, that means that they're close, this thing's going to go down to the last series or whoever has the ball last.
All right. So you both are picking the Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the thing. I almost worry more if Patrick Mahomes has to come out of the game, because how many times have we seen a backup quarterback come in a situation like that with nothing to lose, especially against us? Joe, you bring up Bubby Brister. I remember that Sunday night game. Nobody knew who the hell Bubby Brister was. Yeah. He actually played pretty good. We ended up winning 22-20. Yeah. And it's really scary that I remember that game probably as well as Joe. But I was like 16, and I thought the only thing that mattered was the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. Luckily, I'm 54, and now I got one or two other inches.
Ty, you look at last week when Mahomes when they made him, forced him to go out, and the quarterback came in, and it was a 98-yard drive, and
he went straight down. And
it was precise.
But we ain't moving. The Jaguars either.
We're not the Jaguars, but the thing, this quarterback, that backup quarterback is capable. He's sound. He's not going to make the wild plays like Patrick. But either way, I'd rather play him than Patrick Mahomes, any day. So, I think we'll go after him. I don't care who you have back there. Let's go after him. Let's play our defense. Our defense is going to make some plays. Our defensive ends, Trey and Sam, and then we mix it up with Osai and Sample. And then we have our beast in the middle.
And don't forget Zach Carter. Zach Carter.
Zach Carter's been playing well. BJ's been playing well. So when you look at as a whole, you look at our defense. Everybody is contributing.
And Dax Hill played much better this week too.
Yeah, you look at Taylor Britt. Here it is. These young guys. These young guys are now you're a veteran now. Now you're seasoned. You're not a rookie. We passed rookie because the season's over. So you're in your second year now. So those guys are they've seen a lot over their entire year and then rookie year, and to be able to play in the game of this magnitude as a rookie has to be crazy exciting, man. And they're contributing. They're contributing, in some major ways. So that's just a plus, for our team, because we have our dogs, and our dogs have been solid, man. Logan, DJ, all these guys, they've been making plays consistently. Our safeties, keeping the teams from making those big plays against us, man. So, it's an exciting time. We arguably have, I think the MVP of the league this year, and Joe Burrow's leading our team. I think our trio. I think they still feel disrespected, especially because I think Kansas City's corners and DBs, they're mouthy. And they think they have something for our
all
guys.
All corners are mouthies. And
yeah, all corners. But these guys specifically are really mouthy, and they feel a certain way. So if you can look, when you look at those guys, watch those guys, pregame. Watch them, when they're matched up, after each play. There's a lot, and at the end of the day, you're giving us fuel, brother. Just keep on egging our guys on, and we're just gonna, at the end of the day, we're just gonna let your ass have it.
All right, Kai, anything you want to bring up before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just excited. I know there's going to be a lot of Bengal fans. There were a lot of Bengal fans there last year, right, Joe?
Yeah, absolutely.
We went down. Bengal Jim has his tailgate party at the same place he had last year, and I think with Mahomes' possible ankle, maybe some of these Chiefs fans are going to take the money instead of, and sell their tickets to Bengals fans.
No.
This ain't Buffalo.
I don't know. They said that about Buffalo, and there are a lot of Bengal fans there.
Nobody said that about Buffalo to do anything about Buffalo fans.
This ain't Buffalo, brother.
I'm telling you, I was
Buffalo
there.
Bill fans don't know a whole lot about football.
There was a lot of Bengal fans there, man. A lot.
Oh yeah.
And I know for a fact I'm going with a bunch of people, so it's going to be loud. They're going to hear us.
We're going to be loud, but that's one of the toughest stadiums to play in, man, because you're literally can be sitting and trying to talk, especially when we have the ball. When we have the ball, man, you can barely hear the person next to you, let alone. So here we have to be precise. Our center has to make the calls, and direct the offensive line without those guys hearing. When we're doing check with me's, those guys, everybody has to be on the same page. A lot of times based on their fronts and things that they're doing, if they're bringing somebody down in the paint, if they're blitzing, all that, you have to get calls. You have to, the protection has to slide the right way. But when the protection slides the right way, the running back, and that's why P-Ron is so valuable. He's so good at pass block. He's a lot much better than Joe Mixon is at pass blocking. Being able to pick that, those different schemes up. So it's always tough. Offensively, defensively, the noise is never an issue. I've never played with the noise was an issue for defense, because when you're playing an away game,
some real
defense,
dumbass fans.
they're not.
But
they're not.
Well, what would be nice is if we could do like we did last week, and go out, win the toss, go out and score, and put them behind the 8 ball early, and just make them. I
think Buffalo won the toss last week.
Buffalo won the toss. You're and I get it, Ty. That's a statement. But understand, when you make a statement, damn it, you better make a statement. Don't win the toss and decide to take the ball, and then your ass get take a 3 and out. And that's going to give him momentum.
He's when you look at statistics, when he gets the ball first, and I believe he wanted to do that, right? Like we were passing we'd win the flip and then, give them the ball first, and then so we could have it second half. But then Burrow was like, no, I don't want to play from behind. I want them to play from behind.
Yeah.
And I think he's got the confidence level and everybody around him believing that, hey, if they get the ball first, they're going to go down and score.
I still prefer having the ball to start the second half.
Yeah.
And it's not because I think I'm playing behind him, because I think that I'm up a touchdown or two and I score there, I can pretty much kill him.
Yeah, that's a dagger coming out of halftime, and defensively you allow, because in the first half, first drive, you got the entire game. We can make a play. Second half, especially if you're down and they come out in that second half and take the ball and they take it down and they score on you. Now you're looking at the clock. This is third quarter. Now we're down 2 touchdowns. So you got to start thinking, and now you got to start gambling. You got to start, guys getting out of character, guys running around blocks, trying to make a play. Wow, we hit that, that quick dive. We get that hit. You see guys, a lot of guys, trying to gamble and doing things in a desperate fashion. And, I think that's, we want to get them where they are taking chances. And if you're taking chances against number 9, my money is on number 9. My money is on number 9. That he's going to
like this time. The other reason I like to do it, because if you believe in your defense, you go out, you get the 3 and out and go score. I think that makes a bigger impact than just scoring first, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you win with defense, and everybody can talk about Joe Burrow and the great wide receivers, but this team is winning because of the defense.
Yeah. This defense, man. You look at the year that they had. These guys and DJ Reader, he was out for how long? A month, 6 weeks or something. You look at our best corner. Our best corner is not playing. So you look at what Lou has done with this defense. That streak that we went on with not having the opponent score in the second half. I think they've done something that didn't happen in 50 years. So you look at, when you look at a Super Bowl champion, you think about all the Super Bowl champions, you look over their season and look at things, look at turning points, look at some of the highs, some of the lows, and we have the makeup of all that. Just like our 88 team, we had the makeup, and here Joe Walters gets hurt, Crummy gets hurt, Stanley Wilson before the game, and 30 seconds we didn't finish the job. But all those, despite those things, we still had a chance. And I think these guys, when you look at this season and where we are, we are where we. When I say we, nobody outside of Cincinnati expected us to be back where we are. We are where we expected to be. And at the end of the day, we're not finished. So I love the bravado, man. I love what they're doing. I love Zach Taylor, because I wasn't a huge fan of Zach Taylor at all. So I'm not going to front like I thought he was the greatest coach coming in, but I
thought he was a dumbass. I'll admit that right now, and I think he was a dumbass until at some point this season.
Yeah, so we look at it, Ty. This is it's at one point
I still get scared on 4th and 1 at the goal line, though, Joe.
Oh well, yeah, no, he's going to make it. He has to make a choice,
No
but it's
passes.
yeah, it's time. It's time for this organization, man. It's time. I think it's our turn. Everybody else thinks it's their turn. I mean, San Francisco think they're the best. Everybody's, nobody's picking anybody. Since Buffalo's out, nobody's picking anybody from the AFC. It's going to be either Philly or San Fran. So, that's cool. Let's get, continue to doubt us, continue to doubt these guys, continue to doubt number 9. And let's show up and let the whistle blow, baby. And let's go.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Hopefully, we will have a show next week talking about the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll have one every day for the next 2 weeks if we go to the Super Bowl, Ty.
Crazy.
We'll get some guests. We'll do it every night at like 7 o'clock. You good with that? You got nothing else to do. You're old. You're in a nursing
Hopefully
home.
I'm in Arizona, right?
Well, you're not going to go there for 2 weeks, Ty.
No, I'm not going to do it.
Kyle show up Sunday at 3 and be out of there by Sunday at 10.
Yeah,
You got to teach the next day.
I got to teach. I don't
Yeah.
have that luxury of missing all those days.
All
But I'm
right,
there.
All right, guys, remember, sign up with stake.us and our exclusive promo code of TGT Social to secure your unique 5% rakeback bonus. It's a social casino if you like table games, poker, craps, whatever. You can get it on stake.us and get a 5% rakeback bonus with the TGT Social promo code. I'm tired. This is like 45 minutes. Didn't even seem that long, guys. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. We got a message from somebody. We'll see if we can get that in. Nick Wilson says, "Who day?" See, the great thing about Nick is he moved up around Indianapolis. And I'm pretty sure at least one of his brothers became a Colts fan because they lived in Indy when they had Peyton Manning. But I'm pretty sure that Nick stuck being a Bengals fan. So that's a big who day to Nick. Mr. Andy Steve, thanks us for being on there, for having the show. He says Bengals 31, Chiefs 17.
Big. Okay. All right, Mr.
I'll
Andy.
take that because last year during the AFC Championship game, my heart rate was at 204 at one point.
Oh man. It was up there, man. But
because really, my son's like, "Dad, check it," because we get the little thing. I put it on there. It's like 204, so I'm close to dying. But we won, so it was worth it.
Yeah.
The good thing is the Baltimore game, when it's close, I check my blood pressure. I'm like 128 over 82. So I'm thinking this team's pretty damn good now.
Yeah.
I mean, normally I'm like 110 over 70, so it did bring it up a little bit.
I mean, it's a great time, but it's when you think about where we are, you think about here our you're not having a starting corner, having your best interior D-line out for 6 weeks and having 3 of your 5 offensive starters. Just imagine if we can, get a season, with all these guys.
Hey, Joe Burrow hadn't had a complete preseason yet.
Yeah. You think about here, you look at this team, I think the only thing that can derail this team other than what Mike Brown did and how he derailed the 88 team.
Don't bring that up.
Is it's the green, it's the money, man. It's you have 2 guys chasing and it depends what and I think Joe you're about to get the Brinks truck, but I think he's a guy. When you look at here, where we can possibly lose a guy, we can possibly lose a Higgins, because if you have a team that's going to give him number 1 money, we can't pay 2 number 1 receivers.
He's going to want to be the man somewhere at some point.
Exactly. You can. Well, no, absolutely not. But we can go back and look at Sanu. We can go look back at Marvin Jones. All those guys wanted to be number 1. They're still playing. Marvin and Sanu just retired recently, but these guys came in and they just they played, but they never were number 1 guys, and they just played for several different teams, despite the fact that they could have been very relevant here. So it's just that offensively or organizationally wise, we have to see what can work. You can afford to be able to pay. There's teams that have receivers that they're paying a lot of money. We already have Tyler Boyd. He's still got a couple years on his, so he got his money. So I think when his contract up, he'll be 10 years, and I think he'll wanting to win. If we go ahead and win this Super Bowl, I think they'll be able to work it out, man. And I don't think contract wise, this will be a team that is dismantled like the Rams were, and how they lost so many people, and as a result, they sucked as a team this year.
Yeah, but this team, I think, is built to last. And it's nice thinking as a Bengal fan that the next decade should be full of these runs. Which, let's face it, if you're as old as me, the Cincinnati Bengals won 5 playoff games the first 52 years I was alive. They've won 5 in the next year. So that's not too bad. All right, guys. We will be back. Make sure you check out the NFL Prediction Show every Wednesday night. Myself, former Indiana basketball legend Steve Risley, NFL beat writer Dan Kornhauser. We'll be back next week. hopefully Daly will do a Bengal show. I'm going to make Ty do it. See if we get Joe to do it. We'll get some guests on. So I've already got a few former players, and I know Joe can get a few former players. I think he knows some too. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap the show up. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Grueling Truth. Make sure you go like, subscribe, and check out Betfred. Betfred, if you go to them, and you can go to the link in the description of this video to click on the link for Betfred, you can get plus 350 for the Bengals to win the Super Bowl still right now. So that's a $100 bet. You make $350. If you got the big bucks like Ty, because he's a teacher, you could drop 10 grand and win $35,000, which is what Ty will do probably. $35,000.
Yes.
All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up. So for Joe Kelly, Ty Robbins, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth.